All right, guys, in today's video, we are going to talk through the 3 lessons that I learned from recruiting in 2023 and how you can avoid making these mistakes to hopefully land more interviews as well as land more job offers, most importantly. So we are going to cover chasing 2 rabbits, negotiating yourself out of a job, and the iced coffee experiments. So let's dive in. He who chases 2 rabbits catches none. This is fairly self-explanatory. Something that I saw running rampant, and this is actually why a lot of folks come to us, is most people are chasing 2 rabbits, or they are trying to apply to 2 or more different types of roles. And that usually comes about because they aren't sure what they want. They're not sure if they're running away from something or running towards an actual opportunity. And they're really usually just not really sure what they're capable of getting in terms of the market right now. So when you chase 2 rabbits, you may actually be overqualified for the role, but if you're not getting interviews, it's likely because on your resume or your application, you are sharing everything that you've ever worked on, which makes you look like a generalist. And what happens when you look like a generalist? You end up fitting or looking like a fit of an oversized oven mitten when really what they're looking for is a tight glove, looking for somebody who can, come in, make an impact right away so that the candidate comes in and solves very specific problems. So you need to make sure if you are applying for roles right now, whatever role you apply for, you look like a tight glove fit for them. Now, most people aren't exactly sure how to do that. So we always have them audit their strengths, audit their skills, find out what it is that they really enjoy working on. What's the career? What's the role that's going to support them in this season of life? And what does the big picture look like? What are they ultimately aiming for? That way they're able to answer the question, am I moving the needle closer or further to becoming the best version of myself? So that's number 1. So make sure you are targeting one role. Number 2, the common mistake that I saw, negotiating themselves out of a job before they were able to uncover value. That is so, so, so important. There were multiple people that we spoke to where, for this specific job, they were offering, I'm just going to use easy round numbers. Let's just say for this job, they were offering, $200,000. They had a range where they wanted to stay within a budget of $200,000 to $220,000. And there were people who would say, hey, I really need $260 in order for this to work. And if they came out the gate saying that before they asked any questions about the role, anything else, that was usually, it's like, I don't like in the beginning, especially before they had seen other candidates, it was like, okay, well, there's a lot of people who are saying that they can do this and it's worth 200 to 220. And so those people ended up going through the process. However, there were plenty of people who they knew they wanted 260, but they said, awesome, I'd love to learn more about the role before I can say, yes or no, that's a range that makes sense because I'm curious about the growth opportunities. So how you can avoid this is the first time you're asked about negotiations, you want to have already done the research. You're probably going to get asked, the first time you're asked about salary, not negotiations. You need to know what this job is actually worth on the open market today. So before you talk to anybody, you do that research. Then when you are asked, you are going to know how much your skill set's worth, factor in the cost of living, especially if there's moving involved, whether or not you are willing to go lower if you love the company or the experiences or the mentorship that you are going to gain at that company. And then, of course, other things that may be important to you that aren't necessarily just, a comp number. And then, of course, what are your non-negotiables? So these are some of our favorites for looking this up. My Salary Scale, Glassdoor, PayScale, Salary.com are some really great resources that you can use there. And then when you are asked, here's how you can respond. Just say, salary is not my number 1 motivator. I'm much more interested in joining an organization where I can continue to learn about something that personally excites me, work with a really great team, have opportunities for growth, and be able to utilize my strengths and experience to make an impact. That being said, full transparency, the positions that I'm currently interviewing for are offering between $204,000 and $226,000. I'm curious, what's your range for this role? What's your budget for this role? And that way, whether they come in low or they come in within range, you've already told them, hey, salary is not my number 1 motivator. So you're not going to get kicked out of the process right then and there. Now, if you come in and you say, my range is 204 to 226, and it's for a role that has a budget of 106,000, right? There's a mismatch there. So we have to make sure you're doing the research to know what you are actually worth. Now, this is arguably my favorite out of all of the lessons, is something that I heard during my recruiting process was this experiment that they did. I forget which, I think it was a university that did it, where they had folks come in, and it was a very simple experiment. Somebody was walking in the hallway and they were holding a cup of coffee. And when somebody walked by them, they said, "Hey, excuse me, could you hold this for a second?" And they pretty much handed it to them. They didn't even make eye contact. Then they reached down and they tied their shoe or whatever it was, quick, like 30 seconds that they were holding it. They repeated this experiment, same tonality, same question, same verbiage, everything was the same. And at the end, there was only one variable, I should say, that was different. Some people were handed iced coffee, other people were handed hot coffee. After that experiment, they had all of those people that were accidentally bumped into and asked to hold the coffee, they had them read like a paragraph or two. And they said, a researcher just came up to them and was like, "Hey, I'll give you $20 if you read this paragraph and tell us like the tonality of it." 81% of the people who were holding the iced coffee, they read that paragraph as it was cold, it was harsh, it was biting. Like they used those types of words to describe this paragraph. Now, the interesting part, 80% of the people, 1% difference, 80% of the people who held the warm coffee, like 20 minutes before, 30 minutes before, they all read the exact same paragraph and they described the tonality of that paragraph as warm, calm, inviting. Only difference between the two of them was cold iced coffee or warm hot coffee that they were holding 30 minutes prior. So what does that mean? How the heck is that relevant to your job search? Well, the tactical things, what you are actually looking at on a daily basis, how you perceive those things has far less to do with what is actually there versus your experience throughout the day. And something that we have found to be true across the board is it really takes three components to have a really strong job search process: your mindset, your strategy, and a community or your environment. So most people, they get really stuck on this strategy part. They think it's about the resume. They think it's about the interview hacks, those types of things. That is part of it. It's not even the majority of it. After helping 700 plus people, I think our official number is 717 now as of this week. We've had quite a few wins last week. The folks that have gone through our program, they have shared that the quote unquote hacks that we teach them in the training modules only make up about 50% of their success. The other 50% comes from the mindset and the community portion. So if you are struggling to land jobs right now, I would highly, highly recommend taking some time to identify what is the actual root of your problem. Are you following the right strategy? Yes, that is important, but it is not everything. If you're following the right strategy and you're not seeing the results that you want, meaning you're not landing enough interviews or high quality interviews, or you're not converting those to job offers or high quality job offers, then it is very likely that it is something to do with your mindset and or the community or the environment that you are in. So if you need added help with any of those, we've got a free community for folks who want to support and help each other. We've got free job search resources to help you with the strategy part. We even have free mindset stuff that you can use. We tried to put it all in a step-by-step guide. I'll put it in the description below or in the comments below so you can grab the link for it. But if you have any questions at all, just let us know. We are here for you, and hopefully this helps you not only land more interviews, but of course, more importantly, some job offers that you're really excited about, doing something you really love, with a company that you really admire. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Talk